video, we're going to be looking at creating a digital ad display banner, one that is animated using Adobe Photoshop. So we have one here that I have created earlier. And if we look at the code, you can see that we have the regular normal tags in here. We have a div tag in here with the width and the height. And inside the div tag, we have this animated GIF here. So I'm going to use a copyright-free image from unsplash.com. I've downloaded this image and it's on my desktop waiting to go into Adobe Photoshop. So when we look at banner sizes, we can see that there are various different sizes for different jobs. So we're going to be using this banner size here, which is 720 by 300. So I'm going to go into Adobe Photoshop and I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to open up the image that we have got from unsplash.com. Wait for it to open. Okay, so that's our image. Now this image is pretty large, so if we go to image size, we should be able to see that it's quite a big photo here. So we're going to change the size of this photo. I'm just going to go to image size and change it into the recommended size for that particular banner that we are making. So there's our size. I'm just going to zoom out a bit. So that's the size of our banner. I'm just going to move that over there. So if I go to image size, I can see it's rather on the small side. So I am going to actually undo this. Undo image size and go to window. So I've actually just changed the width of this picture because I really want to keep a lot of the detail in here, and I think I will just cut off the this bit here. So if I go to View, Rulers, sorry about that, I was just taking some time to find the rulers. And if I just push this up here, I'm just going to scroll across here, and I want this to be approximately 300. So with the crop tool, I'm just going to do it by eye, change size of that and then make that 300 and click OK. So now we should have roughly the shape that we need to have for our advertisement. So if I go to image size, I'm just going to change that. Let's make that 720. Yeah. And then click OK, and then we have our size there. So if I go to Window, Layers, should be able to see that we do have our background here. We're going to double click on this and turn it into a regular layer and call it backgrounds. This will make a lot more sense when it comes to animating. Okay, so we have our image here and we need text. So if we look at some examples of banners, so I found some really interesting ones on Google. They all have a similarity. They tend to have some kind of lead text here. They definitely have an image, and they have a button with a call to action. So this call to action could be learn more or download or try for free or follow us or buy. So if I just click through these examples that I found on the internet, I'm just going to click through. Yeah, so this is a really good example here. So we've got this lead text in here, we've got the image, and we've got a call to action here on the button. So if we go back to our example, so we've got our image, and we need some lead text here. So with the text tool, I'm going to select just the regular text, make it white so it stands out, and just change the size. That's a little bit too big, so we just have to play around really till we get the right size in here. So I'm going to type in the leading digital agency. So we have our text here. I'm going to click OK. So I'm going to place the text here. And we sometimes, if you look at these ads, they, as well as having the lead text, they sometimes have a subheading underneath as well. I'm going to leave mine as it is. So we've got, we are the leading digital agency. So with the shape tool, I will create a button. So I'll create a new layer where which will frame our call to action. So we want our button to be rounded, and we can use rounded corners option on here, which is pretty cool. If you just click, and we want it to be rounded about 10 pixels, and there we have our button. Now we can change the size of this. So if we go to edit, transform, and scale, we should be able to change the size of this so that we can fit our text on here. Click OK and then bring that down a little bit to, yeah, there we go. And then with the text tool, we should really label our layers, because this will be useful later on when we start to animate our ad display banner. So again, with the text tool, I'm going to select it, and this time I'm going to choose a sample colour from the actual image, and with very small text. So I need to change the size of this text, and if I type in more info, so click OK. So this gives an implication that if they click on here, they get more info. I'm just going to actually change the size of that text a little bit more. Click OK, and then move that there. So there we have a very simple digital ad display banner. I'm going to save this. So I'm going to save it as a PSD file. So I'm going to call it, this says 720 by 300 banner. So that will save it as a .psd file, which means we can always come back to it and edit it. Now, we actually want to animate this, so we want to have some movement in this, because this can sometimes hold the attention of the user when they're on the website. So to do this, we need to have the timeline window open. So I'm just going to put the layers palette further up on the screen so that we've got more room for the timeline. And I'm just going to click here, create video from timeline, and I'm just going to move everything up. I'm just going to close this. So what we see here should resemble what's in the layers palette. And we're going to do some very simple, gentle animation using keyframes. So if we start off with the background, I'm going to twirl down the background, and we've got three properties that we can animate here. So we are going to have the background gently fade in and then fade. We'll have the background image, excuse me, we'll have it fade from invisible till it's totally opaque. So with the opacity property here, we're going to click this icon, and with the layer selected, we're going to go to opacity and we're going to bring it down till it's almost invisible. And then we're going to move the playback head further down the timeline, and we're going to bring the opacity back up again, and that will create a keyframe here. So if we just slide back and press play, we can see our image gently fading in, and we can see the lovely background coming forward here. And then we're going to take the text here. So we have some text here. We have some Lorem Ipsum text. I don't believe we're using it, so I'm actually going to just delete that, because we're not actually using that. So we are the leading digital agency. We're going to have that move in. So I'm going to twirl down text, and with the playback head, which is here, this is our playback head. I'm actually going to make a keyframe here. So I'm going to click here and make a keyframe, and at this beginning there, I'm going to get this text and move it off. And then we should have our text sliding in like that. So everything is coming to the front here, making a really nice animation. So the next thing, I'm just going to twirl those up again. So the button, I think we're going to actually animate the more info first. So I'm going to twirl down the more info, and we're going to do the same as we did for the We Are the Digital Agency. So I'm going to bring the playback head here, and I'm going to click the transform button, and then round about here, I'm going to just move that text down. So it's a nice short animation, so it just pops up nice and quick there. So I'm going to twirl that up, and then with the button, I'm going to do the same with the button actually. So I'm going to twirl that down, and we'll put the position just there. We will just bring this down there. So there. So when we press play, we have the text sliding in, the picture fades in, and we have the button and the text coming up. So I'm going to save this. save, replace, and then I'm going to export this so that we can view this on a website. So we need to go to File, Export, Save for Web, and we're going to export this as a GIF because we know that GIFs are great for animation. So I'm going to save this. So this is our banner.gif. Click Save. We want images only, and then we'll save. And then if we open any browser window, just to test, if I go to File, Open, and open that GIF, you can see it's going to open. That's one I made previously. If I go to the desktop, this one saved? Export web. And I'm saving. Where am I saving? I'm saving in documents, of course I am. So if I go to documents, there she is. See, we are the leading digital agency. And there we have an engaging digital ad display banner. Now, to put this into an HTML document is exactly the same way as you would put into, as you put any image into a document. So I have one here. I'm just going to zoom in so that we can look at the code. So I'm just going to just zoom in so that we can see the code. So I'm going to copy and paste this code into a new document. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. So let's just copy this code. Create a new document, and I'm going to paste this code. So let's zoom in a bit so that we can properly see what's going on. So we have our image in documents. So we really need to put this in a folder. So I'm going to drag this to the desktop. I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to create a new folder. Let's call it Animated Banner 1. And let's drag our GIF in there. And let's just open this. So we have our GIF in there. So we need to have an HTML document in there that holds this GIF. So I'm going to save this on the desktop. Let's save it as animated banner _ banner.html. So let's save. Great. So we have our HTML, we have our head tags, we have the title tags, we have our style tags. So we have some styles for our H1. We have H1 text in here, and we have a div tag that contains our banner. Now the name of our banner is, have a look in here, because we want exactly the same name. So we need to paste in the same name so that it matches. .gif. And we have a background color here for our div of powder blue. Now what I wanted to do here was look a little bit at color. So I'm going to close the timeline here. Just going to close it. And with the sampling tool, I'm just going to sample a bit of that blue. And I'm just going to click on that blue here. Color. Great, and I want to copy that color as HTML. Stop